Be ready. 5 seconds.
It is a matter of grave concern that environment has been deteriorating at a very alarming rate, and we have been experiencing in the past decades a spate of natural disasters which are due to the climate change that is being caused. It is also a matter of pride for us that under the effective leadership of our Prime Minister, our government has undertaken a wide range of mitigation and adaptation measures, and India is now leading the world in this fight to save the environment. We are also learning that along with the reduction of greenhouses and other pollutants, it is the conservation of our precious wildlife, of flora and fauna, and the health of our ecosystem which play a vital role in the preservation of environment. Sir, it is a fact that nature does not have any political boundaries. So, it is the collective responsibility of all governments to take preventive measures for the protection of the ecosystem. It is the existing interdependence of the species for the mutual survival and the continuity of the chain which is vital for our environment, and it is important to maintain these linkages. There are various examples of how the destruction of just one species has disturbed the ecological balance of the entire region. It has taken millions and millions of years for nature to achieve this perfect balance. But sad to say, our humankind, our human history, which is only 200,000 to 300,000 years old, has emerged as the prime disruptor of this balance. We are paying a very heavy price for it. It runs into billions and billions of dollars. Nobody knows what will happen in the future. It is with a great deal of foresight that our Parliament had passed the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, which basically provides the legal framework for the protection of various species of wildlife, wild animals, and management of the habitat and regulation and control of trade of wildlife and wildlife products. The 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976 further shifted the subject of protection of wildlife and birds from the state list to the 7th schedule in the concurrent list. Today, one of the major threats to wildlife is illegal trade. This illegal trade is mainly due to many superstitious beliefs. There are many other forest products. In the greater Himalayan region, there are a variety of mushrooms which are smuggled out of the country illegally. The CITES, the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, is in force since 1975, and it actually regulates the trade in over 38,700 species of wild animals and plants. One of the requirements of this convention is this, that all member countries shall take appropriate measures to enforce its provisions and prohibit trade in violation of its provisions. We became a party to this convention in 1976, and India has been implementing the various provisions of CITES through the Customs Act of 1962, the Foreign Trade Act, the EXIM policy, and the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. However, the Standing Committee of CITES found certain gaps in the implementation of these provisions. One of the serious repercussions of this is that a recommendation was passed with respect to India to prohibit trade in the CITES listed species. India has considerable exports of such species such as agarwood, red sanders, medicinal and aromatic plants, wood and other wood products. This recommendation would have an adverse impact on our exports and also on the livelihood of lakhs of people who are engaged in such agroforestry and similar activities. Of course, a majority of people engaged in such activities are generally the tribal people. The village communities, which also constitute a large percentage of economically and socially marginalized sections of our population. It was the main concern of our government which has prompted this Wildlife Protection Bill of 2021. This proposes to amend the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 so as to incorporate these necessary changes for effective implementation of the CITES provision. With this, there are many other relevant amendments that also have been added. The first is the amendment to the preamble. Today, the question of protection of wildlife has acquired a much wider spectrum. Apart from hunting and killing, we also have to focus on protecting the habitats, ensuring of natural fodder, management of forest, and curbing of illegal trade and wildlife. These broader actions are required today to ensure the ecological and environmental security of our country. Therefore, the preamble of the Act is proposed to be amended and the words protection of wild animals, birds and plants have been substituted by the words conservation, protection and management and protection of wildlife. Another important proposal in this amendment is that till now the endangered and the protected species which are placed in the 6th schedule was not very clear in the Principal Act. The list of protected and endangered species now have been placed in 4 schedules. Schedules 1 and 2 are for the protected and endangered animal species. Schedule 3 includes the specified plants and Schedule 4 lists all the species specified by the CITES. The government has also added a new chapter 5B in the Act for the regulation of trade of endangered species of wild fauna and flora. As per this proposal, an additional Director General of Forest will be appointed as the management authority, who will be responsible for the issuance of all permits and certificates for trade in the scheduled specimen. Sir, it is proposed that the central government shall designate one or more institutes as scientific authority engaged in research on species. These bodies, with experts in various species, shall advise the management authority in matters referred to it and also help to monitor the export permits granted for species listed in Appendix 2 of Schedule 4. Today, When we talk about invasive species, there are two prime examples which I want to place before the House.